Rest in the presence and hold space.
Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Omega Dantaya Vidmahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamari. Jai Ganesha Gananatha Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadhura Hamari. Ganapataye Namo Namaha. 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 Om Vakratundaya Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Gam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Ganapataye Namo Namaha Suklambaradaram Vishnu Sasivarnam Chaturvujam Prasannavadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignyopashantaye Sarvavignyopashantam Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Jai Ganesha Gananata Dayaniti Sakala Vignya Karadura Hamari Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo Namaha Ganapataye Namo
Namaste.
Namaste.
Welcome to our weekly online Satsang. The Flowering Heart Satsang draws together people really from all over the world, from different continents, countries, different spiritual traditions, teachings, and teachers. What we have in common is that we're all in the process of awakening and the flowering of our hearts, of being transformed in oneness. So, welcome. We share throughout these webcasts the Flowering Heart Blessing, which is a direct transmission of divine consciousness, presence, and it catalyzes the flowering of the heart and the process of awakening in the receiver. If you're already awakening, well, it helps to sort of grease the works, make things smoother and dissolve blocks in the process to facilitate the journey of awakening. If you're already awakened, congratulations. It'll take you deeper because that's not a destination. It's an ongoing, never-ending process of expansion. And we're glad you're here because as we awaken one person at a time on this planet, we're affecting the collective consciousness, and it's making it easier for others. With each person who's awakened, it's easier for others to awaken. It's so much smoother these days than when I began my journey in this lifetime about 50 years ago. Yes, I'm older than that, but that's when I began my journey. And and it was really it was a rocky path for people that were in the process of awakening through the centuries. And now there's so many of us that there's this collective grace and presence that's lifting us all up and moving us along. And we're looking forward to when the collective consciousness itself finally tips and the whole collective of humanity shifts from the insanity of competition, conflict, and war into cooperation, harmony, and peace. That comes about not through a political movement or a religious movement or a philosophical movement, but through a movement of the heart brought about by awakening. So that's our goal, and glad you're with us tonight. We had a great interfaith communion with the Cosmic Christ yesterday. If you didn't tune in, it's archived on Facebook Live and at Vimeo and YouTube and LinkedIn. You can find it somewhere. It's definitely worth watching. The meditation was about growing into the light, and there was a lot of light.
Brought me to tears pretty much throughout the whole thing. Tears of gratitude.
Through the whole hour-and-a-half journey.
Yeah.
She was just blubbering. And that's what happens sometimes when tremendous grace moves and causes the heart to open. So, yeah, it was one of those. And it even got recorded.
Yay.
Because sometimes when there's that much grace, that much light, we've noticed over the years that that's when the recording equipment switches off or we lose the internet or something happens where we don't even have a recording, but we did. So avail yourselves of it if you haven't already seen it. What else? Anything?
Drop a like or love so we can see who is here.
Yeah, drop a like or a love. If you're on Facebook Live, you can give us a thumbs up or a heart. And if you're watching on Vimeo, you have to enter something in the chat, like, hi, it's me. But we like to be able to go in afterwards and see who joined us. We had a really great group last week. You haven't even seen it all, because a lot of people watch later, not right now when we're doing it. They'll watch later tonight or tomorrow, between now and next Monday. Many times more people than actually join us live, tune in through the week because they have different time constraints, time zones, responsibilities, things like that. But we like to open it to questions on the spiritual journey, your spiritual journey. difficulties you may be encountering, or just some area of the spiritual journey that you'd like more clarity, more light. You could ask questions about awakening itself, about divine union, about life after death, about meditation. We're really open to anything as long as it's related to spirituality. And we'll answer any questions you throw out there. And because in recent times, we've had to wait a few minutes for the questions to come in, I've sort of been reading quotes from famous people on various subjects of interest. And these quotes I'm getting off of a website, inspiringquotes.com. I recommend it. They've got a lot of great quotes that inspire. Tonight, I want to read 11 quotes on the power of letting go. Sometimes the hardest thing in life is letting go of what's holding you back. Oh, there's so many people I want to be listening to this right now. Sometimes the hardest thing in life is letting go of what's holding you back. It could be a painful situation you have to overcome, the loss of someone you love, the consequences of a poor choice, a deflating job, or even just a negative mindset you can't shake. We can get stuck in a holding pattern where we focus on the things that we struggle with and wind up in a cycle of stress, frustration, and sadness. But there's good news. Once you let go of whatever hurt, anger, or regret you're holding on to, you're able to move forward freely. You have the ability to start out on a new path, unencumbered by the weight of what you've left behind. If you're standing on the precipice of that new start, these 11 quotes will inspire you to let go and move forward. So here we go. Our first quote. Forgiveness is a reflection of loving yourself enough to move on. Steve Maraboli. You only struggle because you're ready to grow but aren't willing to let go. Drew Gerald. Forgiveness is just another name for freedom. Byron Katie. Every time you're tempted to react in the same old way, ask if you want to be a prisoner of the past or a pioneer of the future. The past is closed and limited, the future is open and free. Deepak Chopra. The truth is, unless you let go, unless you forgive yourself, unless you forgive the situation, unless you realize that the situation is over, you cannot move forward. Steve Maraboli. To perceive the world differently, we must be willing to change our belief system. Let the past slip away. Expand our sense of now and dissolve the fear in our minds. Gerald G. Jamplowski. You can't go back and make a new start, but you can start right now and make a brand new ending. James R. Sherman. A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what ships are built for. John A. Shedd. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase, just take the first step. Martin Luther King Jr. You have two choices: to control your mind or to let your mind control you. Paulo Coelho. What we find in life is based on where we put our attention. When we focus on the small worlds our thoughts create, we miss out on the beauty and possibilities we are meant to enjoy. Guy Finley. Those are kind of nice.
Very nice.
It reminds me of a Zen story. There are two monks, Zen monks, who are on their way walking back toward their monastery. And to get there, they have to cross a river. Well, when they get to the river, there's a woman who can't swim, she can't get across, she needs help. And, these celibate Zen monks had a strict rule to never touch a member of the opposite sex or be touched by a member of the opposite sex. But one of the monks, seeing this woman in such a state of need, just went up and said, "Can I help you?" And she said, "Please." And so he lifts her up and he carries her across the river in his arms. The monk he's walking with is completely scandalized because he's violated this rule of their monastic order. And he sets the woman down on the other side, and the two monks continue walking together toward the monastery. But the one monk is miffed. He's really upset with his brother for picking up that woman and carrying her across the river. And so they're walking in silence, but there's this bad vibe between them. So finally the monk that helped the woman said, "What is wrong, brother?" And he said, "You picked up that woman and you carried her across the river, and that's wrong." To which the monk responded, "Brother, I set her down miles back the road. You're still carrying her." Letting go. So, Michael Christopher asks, if we can ask for our own healing, why do we wait so long to ask and allow the healing? Yeah, that's a good question. It's interesting, we just watched, we binged on all the seasons, first 3 seasons of a series called The Chosen. I highly recommend it. It's produced by Angel Studios. You can go to angelstudios.com and just stream it right off their website, all 3 seasons, which makes it simple. But it's a point of view of the ministry of Christ that's different than any I've seen. You know, I've been around a lot of years and I've seen a lot of religious movies. This one is very cool. And the character that plays Christ is performing all of these healing miracles. But there's often a question that he poses to the person that needs healing. And they need to ask. And some of them, he just wants to heal. He goes right up to them and they don't ask. And he asks them, "Do you want to be healed?" And it's amazing to see the struggle that some of the characters go through to just express yes. Of course, at which point instantly there's a miracle and they're healed. But they had to ask, or they at least had to express, "I want this." Why do we wait so long to ask? A lot of times we wait so long to ask because we don't know it's really available. We don't know that we can, whatever we ask for in faith, we'll receive. And sometimes we feel unworthy. We feel like, who am I to ask God? There are even, I won't mention the religions and religious groups, but there are not just Christian groups. There are some Eastern religious sects that think it's wrong to ask God to heal you, to release you from your suffering, because, there's a different reason the Christian groups think the age of miracles is past. So some of the Eastern groups feel, you should just have a stiff upper lip and experience your karma. Because you're going through it for a reason. Everything's perfect. You're destined eventually to divine union, so just toughen up and take it. And to ask the divine to remove that suffering is like taking away some of what's bringing about your perfection and cleansing and transformation. So there's that. We have a little plaque on our bathroom door that says, faith is not believing that God can. It is knowing that God will, which is different. And so generally, the prayers for healing that get answered are offered by a person that wants to be healed, does not feel unworthy of being healed, and knows not just that God can, but that God will, if asked in faith. And then I love the phrase you ended with, why do we take so long to ask and allow? Allow the healing. And sometimes, and I point this out to our community, especially when we do a service like the communion service. We will offer this prayer, and usually in a communion service, all these prayers are offered and people just keep moving. But when we invoke the presence at the beginning of communion, we just stop everything and take a few minutes to receive and allow what we just asked for. When we acknowledge that we have faults and imperfections and that we want grace, to liberate us from our imperfections, but also grace to awaken us and to transform our lives into something more. And we don't just move right on, we stop like we really meant it and go, okay, here we are, let's receive what we just asked for. So asking for healing is one thing, allowing the healing, that's key. The divine is very respectful of our freedom to choose. And sometimes people think they would like to be healed, and they ask to be healed, but it may be serving something in their life. Like they're getting a lot of attention from people close to them because they're suffering. And what would my life be like if I got out of this wheelchair or I set down those crutches? There can be something that's feeding in our subconscious that we're not fully aware of. And maybe another reason we don't always allow it is we don't know how. How do you just get out of the way? People just go, please heal me. 10 seconds later, please, please, please heal me. Heal me because if you do, then I can be a better, member of the family and the community, and I can do this and that. People start bargaining and wait another second, and they're still not healed. Well, maybe I didn't ask the right way. Then they'll try different ways of asking and all of that. And, the divine knows what you're asking for before you even ask. Asking is important because it opens the door. But then we have to allow it and receive it. And so a lot of good healing ministers and spiritual healers will help the person receive and allow. Just allow it. It's never a question of whether the divine is willing to heal us, to free us from our suffering, to bring about awakening, which is another work of grace that comes from the divine. But don't know how to receive what we're asking for. And just allow it. Get out of the way. Stop asking over and over and over again like God didn't hear you the first 100 times you asked. It's always a question of our ability to receive and allow, not God's willingness. And there's a parable of Christ I just love, where this man that needs healing comes to Christ and says, I think he was a leper, he said, Lord, I know if you are willing, you can heal me. I know if you're willing, I know you have the power to do this. So he believed in healing. He believed in the power, spiritual power to heal. What he wasn't sure of was the willingness of the divine to do that for him. So our lack of self-love and understanding the love of God for us can get in the way.
Right. And also, most of that lack of love and that resistance to receiving is all from charges and programs. You know, we may have been told that we're not good enough when we were younger, and we internalize that. So there's some feeling of I'm not worthy of healing, and others may, you know, have been programmed that, you know, this is terminal, or you're going to be this way forever by maybe their doctor or another person or some expertise advice on it. And we give away our power when we just believe anything that's not possible.
So you might ask, well, okay, so I shouldn't just keep asking over and over and over and over and over again. What should I do then? I've asked. I'm trying to allow it and receive it. What do I do in the meantime? I'm glad you asked. Christ said that whatever thing you desire, so I guess it's okay to desire some things. Whatever things you desire, when you pray, believe you have received them. When do you believe you've received them? When you see it manifest? When you feel the energy working in your body? No, he said, when you pray, believe you have received it, and you shall have it. So a lot of people aren't actually praying in faith with the certainty that when they ask, it will be given. But even then, the gift is given, but there may be no outward manifestation that it's been given. So what do? While you're waiting for it to manifest, see it done. Call it done. Speak of yourself, I'm healed. I may not look like it, but it's in Scripture it says, God calls those things which be not as though they were. So God will declare a thing that isn't manifest, and it is. It becomes. So if we believe we've received and are allowing, and the healing is working invisibly, but it hasn't manifested yet, then we call it done because it was promised, because we received it in faith. And see it in your mind, in your heart, see yourself healed, and express thanks. So rather than praying over again, wow, it hasn't happened, I hope I didn't offend you, I hope blah, blah, blah. Instead of doing that, see yourself healed and enter into thanksgiving. Every time it comes up into your mind that the full healing or the full release or your full enlightenment or whatever it is you're looking for has not completely manifested, count it done, call it done, and offer thanksgiving to the divine for doing it for you, for giving it to you. The divine cannot resist that. When you sincerely trust and you're patient in waiting for the manifestation, and you just in faith, in peace, keep offering thanksgiving to the divine, it does hasten the manifestation of these things, but it keeps you on the right track. Keeps you in faith.
This isn't about healing, but it's funny because this just happened today when we were down at the beach. And last week I told Michael I had some sunglasses that the beach gave me when we were picking up trash one day. And I told Michael, I said, these are getting really scratched. I need the beach to give me a new pair of sunglasses. And we laughed. And then at that moment, I saw the beach just washing up some sunglasses. So I was talking to a friend and said, I think I'm going to need my sunglasses. I'm going to go back up to the car. And she said, I'll walk with you. And she said, here, I want to give you something. And she opens her car door, the back seat door, and in the little pocket behind the front seat was this really super nice pair of sunglasses, designer expensive sunglasses.
Worth somewhere between $150 and $400.
Right.
It's not nice to look up the price of a gift. But
we were curious.
The ones that got all scratched that the ocean gave her,
right,
because we were picking up trash, they were like $180 designer
right,
glasses.
Yeah,
and they wore out. I thought, where's she ever going to get another pair of, because
right,
we don't buy stuff like that.
Right. So she whips out these sunglasses and hands them to me, and I said, oh, these are really nice, and they're so stylish, and they're beautiful. And she said, they're yours. And I said, really? And she said, yeah, I found them on the beach, and I've been meaning to give them to you. And I said, wow, that's amazing, because I was just telling Michael last week that I needed the beach to give me a new pair of sunglasses. And she said, well, I didn't just find them. She said, I actually have had them in my car and just kept forgetting about them since last spring. And it was at the point where I asked and then I received. It was really funny. I thought, wow, I should have asked sooner.
There you go. You had to be ready to allow.
I had to be ready to allow and to receive.
Yes.
It was getting harder to drive with my old sunglasses. Was there another question there?
No, Yekaterina wrote, I think your experiences with God are amazing. They give me faith. I would like to listen to more. Well, we'd like to tell more, so happy you like to listen. Yeah, it's one of the keys to opening the door for divine miracles is to share your experiences with others. It could be a little thing. It could be, you prayed because you were in a real hurry and it was a real busy place, and you asked God to give you a parking space, and boom, there it is. Okay, that's a tiny thing, and it could just be a coincidence, right? But no, anything that goes your way during your day, express gratitude to the divine for that. And if it's cool, share it with other people. Because, as Yekaterina said, our experiences with God give faith to others. And the more that we share what the divine does in our lives with others, not only does it help strengthen other people's faith, but then God goes, I like that. I'm going to give them another miracle. And if you keep going in gratitude and sharing, the miracles get bigger and bigger and bigger and more special. So share your faith, but share your experiences. That's
so often too, people are like, oh, miracles never happened to me, but as you start to experience what Michael just said, being aware of when things go your way during the day, you start to become more and more aware of how pretty much everything is a miracle. Because things fall into place all the time, and sometimes when things don't fall into the place, there's a reason for it. You weren't supposed to go in that direction, or you weren't meant to be doing that at that point in your life.
I think it was the Dalai Lama that said something like, sometimes the greatest blessing is to not get what you want.
Yeah.
You have no idea what would have happened.
Right.
Yeah. And it was Einstein, all these quotes, it was Einstein who's credited with the statement, there are two ways you can live. One, as if miracles do not exist. The other is that everything is a miracle. I choose the second, he said. Yep. Okay. Any other questions or comments? thoughts before we move on? Well then, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. If you would close your eyes and just center in your spiritual heart, deep in the center of your being. There at the center dwells the divine source itself. The mind can't understand how could the divine source live fully in you and in me at the same time, but it does. Rumi said, "You're not a drop of the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a drop." It's not just a little spark of light in you, it is the entire divine light, the presence of God. And this presence is pure unconditional love. This presence loves you unconditionally, exactly as you are. We have a hard time wrapping our minds around that because poor teaching, religious teaching, has taught us that God is judging us and angry at our mistakes. The divine is the most loving, parental being in the universe. And it deeply loves us, regardless of our failings, our frailties, our mistakes. Allow that. Receive that. This presence yearns to free you from suffering, to enlighten your spirit, to illuminate your soul, to dissolve the wrong thinking and the programming and the negative emotions and charges, and fill your soul with divinely inspired ideas, thoughts, visions, dreams. It yearns to heal your body from disease, from physical pain. Receive that. Allow the presence to illuminate, to enlighten your spirit, to clear your soul and inspire it, to heal your physical body and shine into your relationships, healing your connections with friends and loved ones. And to shine through you like a lighthouse to touch the world. That's why you're here. Just ask and allow and receive. Imagine, visualize us all sitting in a big circle together. And with your eyes still closed, lift up your hands with your palms open, facing forward, and just invite and allow the divine to pour the flowering heart blessing through you to all the others in the circle as they allow the divine presence to pour the flowering heart blessing through them to you. Now, imagine, visualize in the center of our circle the beautiful blue planet Earth. And let us all take a strong intention together for the divine to bring healing to our planet, to the atmosphere, to the oceans and the waters, to the lands, to the climate, healing for the planet itself and for all the creatures dwelling upon it. Let us take a strong intention for the divine to illuminate and awaken the hearts of all human beings on this planet, to awaken into oneness with Source, with one another, with nature, with the universe. And now when you're ready, just relax, rest your hands in your lap somewhere, and open your eyes and begin to make direct eye contact with Suzanne and or me as we dive into the light meditation. During this open-eyed meditation, Suzanne and I are flooded with oceans of divine grace, of light and love, and it pours through every fiber of our being to you, especially through our eyes, which mystics have often called doorways of the soul. The light shines out through our eyes, into your eyes, deep into your spiritual heart, causing the flames of divine love and the light of awakening to burn brighter and brighter and brighter within. Just allow and receive. You could close your eyes now. Meditate with us for a few more moments and let the grace settle within you. Now you could keep meditating as long as it feels nice to you. Or find a place nearby where you can lie down on your back in Shavasana. That's to lie on your back with your eyes closed, your arms loosely at your sides with the palms open, turned upward, and just let yourself dissolve in gratitude in the divine presence. We love you very much.
Much love, light, and blessings.
Until we meet again, know that the divine in us beholds the divine in you.